Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. And once you're done, leave a comment down below and I just might end up responding. Braun Strowman is your new WWE Universal Champion. After 5 years on the main roster, the monster among men, Braun Strowman, has finally claimed his first World Championship, and goddamn what a road he had to take to get here. After an uninspired debut alongside the Wyatt family, Braun turned to a single star and within just the first year became the hottest act in the entire company, and for the last 3 years has just been waiting to sink his teeth into the right opportunity. Well, that steak on a plate finally presented itself tonight in the form of a Goldberg murder. So let's go over the reasons why WWE finally decided to put the Universal Championship on Braun Strowman. Number 1, Goldberg can't keep it up. Braun Strowman has a lot of defining features. He is ungodly powerful in a way we genuinely haven't seen surprise us since Brock Lesnar way back in 2002. He's surprisingly agile, once again drawing Brock comparisons, but topping Lesnar is his ability to not only connect with the audience on a babyface level even as a total monster, still being popular to this day, but also cut a half-decent promo. If Braun really spent a year committing to learning how to deliver his lines just a tad bit better and more realistic, he would be the actual, legit, complete package inside of the ring. Above all else though, Braun's main appeal as a world champion over Goldberg is the number 36, the current age of the current champion. Goldberg, on the other hand, is 53. Nearly 2 decades older than Braun Strowman, and similarly about 2 decades past his prime. While the Bergmeister looks physically impressive for his age, he is incredibly underwhelming when it comes to literally everything else Braun excels at. Yeah, Goldberg is strong in a way that few others are, but did you see how he won that title? The dude couldn't even hold up Bray Wyatt for the jackhammer, instead basically suplexing the poor fiend right onto his head. Braun Strowman, the former strongman, has an inner power that isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and with an extra 17 years to work with, has far more speed and agility. Number 2, they kinda owed him. Remember how I mentioned Braun Strowman becoming the most over act in pro wrestling just a year after splitting off from the Wyatt family? Well, yeah, it's true. The latter half of 2016 saw Braun repackaged as a singles monster who dominated over all of his smaller opponents, often multiple men at once, and heading into 2017, he was desperate to find some more challenging opponents. This was very entertaining. After an incredible feud in the early months of the year against Roman Reigns, Braun was a made man. Despite not doing diddly dick at that year's WrestleMania, the big bad Braun still came around to blow the roof off of everyone else's house and become the number 1 act in the company. Unfortunately for Braun, WWE had their hearts set already on rekindling the feud between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns from 2 years prior for that year's WrestleMania, and Braun was built up for no better reason than to be a stepping stone for those 2 main eventers. Both Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns would go on to defeat Braun Strowman, being the only 2 men to do so cleanly throughout the year, showing their dominance over the overtly dominant force and proving themselves the only men worthy of fighting for the Universal Championship. It was incredible just how transparent this was to the fans, and Braun's career unfortunately faltered hard following the 2 losses. He would go on to team with a child at WrestleMania, turn heel and side with a group despite being able to physically dominate all 4 of them at the same time. Then he'd turn face and do a weird feud with Elias, and then he'd win only to waste his Money in the Bank contract. It was just a bad couple years to be a Braun. Basically, Strowman's been an incredible hand, yet incredibly underutilized talent in the WWE, and this is probably their way of saying, hey, sorry about all that, here's your pat on the shoulder. Once again, unfortunately though, number 3, he is a perfect transitional champion. I'm as happy as the next guy that Braun finally climbed that mountain and earned his way to the top seat on Monday Night Raw, especially after he's supposedly been trying to make amends for those dipshit comments he made about indie wrestlers a few weeks back. Sadly for Braun though, don't expect anything too fantastical out of this title reign. Braun was literally shoehorned into the championship match the day before it happened. WWE could have aired an angle where Braun assaults Roman and takes his place. They could have had Braun attack Goldberg and force him to change his opponent to himself. Braun could have attacked Vince McMahon, Triple H, or anyone with a position of power and ensure they made the right decision or they'll get these hands. Instead, Michael Cole announced breaking news about an upcoming match, showed about 3 minutes of segments regarding King Corbin versus Elias and whether or not he could compete, and then showed like a 15-second graphic about the #1 championship on the show having a new contender before cutting to commercial? What? If that doesn't put into perspective just how pathetic this World Championship reign should be in the company's eyes, I really don't know what will. I hope so badly that he gets to enjoy a nice lengthy title reign as Universal Champion with plenty of top level title defenses that earns him a place in the belt's history. I don't see it happening. I'm hoping for this world title run to have the Kofi length. I'm expecting it to have the Kofi disappointing ending. WWE have built Braun up as an unstoppable force only to put Reigns over Strong before. Don't be surprised if history repeats itself. Number 4, he can put on some damn fun matches. Let's step away from all this negativity for a second here. Despite the fact that Braun's likely here to transition the title one day, hey, so was Kofi, and we still got to enjoy 6 months of pure positivity and entertainment. Sure, it wasn't the best, but honestly, I would expect more out of a Braun world title run anyways. Braun has such a unique style, and in a big, hyped world title match, could easily be helping put on some of the best matches in any given card. SmackDown's new top champion has plenty of great potential challengers. As Braun Strowman versus the likes of Daniel Bryan, John Cena, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, or Sami Zayn if we're lucky enough, and yes, the inevitable Roman Reigns matches could all be barn burners. Hell, WWE likes to shake up the superstars after each Mania, so in just a few weeks, throw in the potential for Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Randy Orton, Edge, Rey Mysterio, hell, maybe even The Undertaker or Brock if WWE really wants to go nuts, and you have got a concoction for some great potential matches to maybe get down the road. Number 5, his recent controversies. Now hold on, it's an odd entry, but hear me out. It seems that WWE often likes to take their superstars that are getting in some slight hot water, stirring that pot a little bit, and then let them benefit from it. I know it sounds odd, but you remember how Seth Rollins kept putting his foot in his mouth on Twitter during his Universal Championship reign, yet he just kept on winning in more and more convincing fashion? Yeah, sure, Hell in a Cell finally happened and killed that credibility dead, but for months the trend was consistent. Bray made comments about WWE killing his character and immediately was thrown into a marquee match at WrestleMania against John Cena the very next night, a match on his home turf that he's probably gonna win, but then again, I did go 2-8 on predictions tonight, so I'm gonna hold my breath on that one. Hey, CM Punk is currently signed to WWE backstage. Need I say more? Regardless, now that WWE has competition a brewing, they've got to capitalize on anything and everything that they can capitalize on, and Braun Strowman making some slight waves over his comments on independent wrestlers needing to work harder and not ask for handouts just might have helped edge him out over contemporaries for why he was chosen to beat Goldberg. And after all, do you really see Vince McMahon as someone who would be upset over those comments? He probably agreed with them. Number 6, because the fans actually wanted it. I put this at the end of the list for probably obvious reasons, and that's because WWE is a company infamous for not really acting based on what the fans are going to think. Vince McMahon will do in his pro wrestling product what Vince McMahon wants to see in his pro wrestling product until the day Vince McMahon dies. So I'm pretty damn sure that this entry is a waste of time, but maybe, just maybe, Vince finally came around to some senses and decided that, hey, everything is in the shitter right now across the globe. The company's kind of going down a little bit. It was before. It definitely is with it. Let's just, you know what, let's just put a smile on one or two of the fans' faces. Braun Strowman, despite the atrocious booking he's been saddled with over the last 3+ years, remains one of the most popular wrestlers on WWE's entire roster. A lot of the fans in the know about his comments still hung around even before he started trying to make amends, because he's just that unique and interesting of a professional wrestler. No one really looks like Braun does, and no one wrestles like Braun does, and therefore he has created his own unique niche. No other wrestler in the company say for maybe Brock Lesnar and maybe Drew on a good day could do that run around the ring knocking everyone out in your path move that Braun employs so damn well. That is a great comedy yet genius spot at the same time, and little shit like that has kept him consistently popular despite consistent underutilization. Maybe, just maybe, WWE is really listening to the fans this time. Or maybe that's exactly what I said when Kofi won, and he's really just here to help keep the blue belt warm until Roman feels safe enough to compete. Listen, it's definitely one of those two. It's probably the Roman one.